So, one quick question. Are we sure that Luhan is a clone of Shen Wulong? We sure it's not Setsuna, right? Because if it's not Setsuna, I'm just thinking that maybe he should seek medical attention if this lasts longer than 4 hours. That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, this is chapter 304, Luhan versus the consecutors of Kengan Omega. So, to clear up here at the very beginning of this chapter, plus I did do some research after the last chapter about the whole tiger. Where did the damn tiger dragon thing come from? Because there wasn't two connectors sort of idea. Pretty much what we're going on here, because the chapter opens up with that saying, okay, so Oma's a clone of the tiger somehow, and Gao's a perfect clone of Shen proper, the dragon, somehow. Where the tiger originally came from and which one is the true one, that's still left up ambiguously, but from what I could understand from the Wikipedia entry and plus on forums and other sites and stuff, is that when he cloned himself, he basically made twin clones of himself, but now inside of the same body. By doing the clone thing, like the Long Min Dragon tribe tried to tell him before, that cloning is going much further than Hoi Seng. By cloning this was sort of almost like karma, and he ended up with basically split personality, but two clones in one body. That's where the tiger supposedly comes from. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I've gathered thus far. So anyways, going forward with the rest of the chapter, but just clearing that up from last chapter review. So this chapter basically goes how we expected. It's for Luhan to show off. Tiger doesn't feel like showing off, I guess. He's like, hey, it ain't my fight. You pissed them off, what have you. So this is Luhan basically here to show off against characters that we're supposed to sort of say, yeah, okay, they're formidable. And this is to show off how much more powerful he's become now that he's unlocked the martial arts memories and stuff like that. And sure, fine, dandy, but we sort of knew this was going to be a wash for these guys introduced, right? We're not going to introduce guys this late in the game where they're going to be super, super relevant, right? So, anyways, he goes on to explain that these ones resulted as failures so I was wrong in saying that at first they were like, okay, well, let's try to replicate Shen and the dragon and the tiger in one body to give him a fair fight. That was my original thought, as I said last chapter, but apparently that is not the case. These were basically when they were trying to make Ryuki and Oma, they were fucking up. They were rejects. They still maintained both tiger and dragon DNA inside them, and that's not what, obviously, Shen wants. So they're considered rejects and failures. Now, these are consecutors 6 and 7 with very obvious nicknames, aka Scarface. Clearly, the guy, with the facial hair and stuff, and the man bun, he's Scarface, and Lucky Boy's the one with the big facial scar because he's so lucky that he's never been hurt. So yeah, very, very, very obvious nicknames there. Yeah, so they go on and said that, well, wait a minute now, these are number 6 and 7. And I'm like, here we go. Where's the, when are we going to find the other remnants? It's like the Winter Soldier shit all over again. And it's like, well, actually, and he just goes on to say it's flippant, but this is actually a good thing that this was brought up. Said, actually, most of them don't even have names and stuff like that. And to put it to you bluntly, is that after we realized that they were failures and stuff, the worm realized they could still be highly useful because they're quite powerful, like Luhan himself, alongside of these consecutors. They're certainly no lightweights, right? You would not rank them anywhere below a B-tier fighter, even in the Kengan verse, if not probably, closer to a mid-B to an A tier, we could assume, right? Because they're from the connector's DNA, and with the worm's training regiment. They were training them in utmost secrecy to be body doubles, to be all this stuff. But Shen, of course, being the good guy that Jackie is, once again, Jackie is actually not that evil. And the moment, he lacks a lot of empathy and stuff, and as we know, Hoi Sang and stuff like that has sort of fucked him up. But if he's basically from, 5,000 years ago, so to speak, his ways might be a little antiquated on what's morally evil and what's good and stuff like that. But just look, the moment Yamagohan went, no, that's evil, please don't do that, he's like, all right. Come out, here's what I want, and if you think that we can find an alternate method, sure, go for it. I'm not, hell-bent on this evil plan, right? So, Shen, once again, proving that, I don't go out of my way to order anything, The worm, the previous head of the worm, showed up and basically said, oh, we've got these body doubles, and they're a trained, super, there are winter soldiers, there are black ops of the worm, and he's like, yeah, no, that's kind of slavery, just set them free, I feel bad for them, no, don't make these children into weapons, I don't need that, I'm good, so once again, I think Shen's statement is quite accurate. He has never gone out of his way to be villainous. People come at him and he's like, well, you're going to keep coming at me, I'm going to strike back, right? So, not saying he's not somewhat sadistic, but so is Ryan, so is Oma, so is a lot of these guys that we, hold in such high regard. So, yeah, all good. Anyways, funny thing about that is that so the body double training was canceled and they went on to live their lives. Most of them went and just got citizenship and went to be, family men and shit like that. They're like, okay, they still, by the looks of these consecutors, they still get the pretty boy looks. Objectively speaking, Shen and all his clones, Ryuki, Oma, all these guys are good looking. They have the genes to spare, so if they work out even for 1 hour a friggin' week, they're going to be jacked. They're all 6 feet tall. They kind of got it made a little bit, in the gene pool for sure. So, if they just want to go on, yeah, I'm just going to be, imagine these dudes just in even professional sports of any description. Or not even using that strength to do anything, but just to, go into the trade to just be a family man and shit. It's I've got the gene pool, he can get a hot wife, that'll give him babies because he's good looking and shit, right? And, so a lot of these guys, they obtained citizenship and it was like, oh, okay, thanks for everything. You born me in a test tube, but at least I don't have to deal, my wife doesn't have to deal with her bad in-laws. I guess that's sort of the deal there, right? Now, these ones are a couple. Now, we don't know if they're the only ones, but there's probably 1 or 2 other consecutors remaining. But some of them did stay with the worm, by the looks of it. Some of them did. Some of them remained as guests. They were no longer doing the body training, but I assume they trained as martial artists and stuff. And so now they work for Yan, who's now, of course, current head of the worm and stuff like that. There's a little bit of weird, supposedly comedic dialogue going on. It's not really working that much for me. Luhan basically says, oh, you're attacking me in broad daylight, so this is the master plan of the worm and stuff like that. It's the worm would never do something idiotic, and that the entire fan base is sitting here going, okay. So anyways, we actually jump away to one of the funnest part is that now our boy Jackie is at an amusement park and he bought himself Fu ended up buying him a wooden, a replica, a wooden training sword, a samurai sword, and he's swinging it around this is awesome. You know what? This is going to be my main weapon. I feel like a delinquent. This is great. So he's literally there to ride on the roller coasters and shit. Shen, once again, comedy Shen, I would follow a series. I told you guys, I thought that the campfire in the mountains ended way too quickly. I could have read, up to this point, I could have read chapters upon chapters of the only person missing was Joji. We have Joji, Kuroki, Oma, and frickin' Shen just chilling and cooking for an entire, 20 chapters. I would have been satisfied. Hilarious antics ensue on a mountain. That would be an amazing series. I'm just saying. I would read the volume extras for that. I think that's what Daro would want to draw, by the way. So, yeah. Anyway, so we jump back to the fight and stuff like that because Yan was mentioned. We jump into that scene. It was quite funny to break up a little bit of the tension. Either way, they both attack Luhan. They want nothing to do with Tiger, and he even sort of wow, am I not? He's kind of put out by it. He's like, what the hell? Not even bothering with me. Am I not worthy? Am I not a threat? So that's sort of him right there. Now, these guys are actually coordinating themselves quite well. They managed to get some early blocked hits on, but they're still hits nonetheless on Luhan. He does take a little bit of damage here and there. They get on some early hits, and Tiger's just sort of like, well, it makes sense. They've been raised together. They'd be really in sync. Their coordination should be pretty good. And he just keeps getting further and further back away, and Luhan's like, would you get in here and stuff like that? And he's like, whatever. Then we get that, once again, unfortunately, that very AI-generated aura of the three. Now, there's a lot that could go on here. Why the three skulls? Just an artistic choice? Does it represent, the tiger and the dragon and the mix of the two as the third skull? Does it mean, the chimera idea? Is it representing that, yes, I am the mix of the tiger and the dragon, but I am my own skull, the one in the middle? But none of that really matters, because I can't help the fact that this, the skull in the middle, well, have any of you seen, there are these places on the internet, there are websites on the internet. Go figure. I don't know if you find websites in Walmart. That might be a little weird. But yes, websites are found on the internet. And some of these sites have viewer discretion advisements in front of their content, right? For a lot of good reasons, yes. So if you're following me along so far, the thing that I'm not concerned of is what do the three skulls represent necessarily. It's what the middle skull seemingly is discharging from its mouth all over Luhan. Now there's a word for this on these certain websites. It begins with a B, and it's a sort of a niche but a rather popular genre of those sites. And I'm just wondering, is that jizz? Is his aura jizz? I don't know if this video is going to be taken down by saying it. I'm just like, does that not look like the top skull is like, okay, there was a little too much of a delivery, and now bleh all over Luhan? Okay. As I said, Luhan is not Setsuna's clone, right? We're sure about this. Are we though? I think it's theory time. Yeah. Anyway, so though the AI might have taken some of you out of the moment, I was more focused on this specific look. Anyways, they say some very standard generic shit about you're evil and stuff like that, and it's like, well, we're going to now fight for real and stuff like that. So let's play sort of idea. And now this is where Lucky Boy and Scarface end up starting to get their ass kicked. And he's like, well, these martial arts memories are fantastic and stuff. And then we get another. So it wasn't just the skulls. It wasn't the AI skulls that I feel like were taken specifically from potentially the hub in an Asian category specifically. I don't know. And then we get another shot that is completely dictating to me that this is going to last more than 4 hours, and Luhan is going to be drained in more than one way. Let's put it to you that way, right? So he completely owns these two consecutors very, very handily, and says, so this is how it feels to be in the connectors realm, in the connectors world. Obviously, he has vastly improved. Now when people want to put him in like the top S, now when people want to say that this guy could take on Kuroki, now I might believe you. Previous this, no, Kuroki kills this guy. Just saying. Everyone put this dude right below as the top of S tier, and I was just like, you're all fucking wrong. So, I really don't think that Luhan improved this vastly and then didn't upgrade at all. He's still weaker than Shen, but, now he's, like, if anything, now he's at the top. now you could argue he's at the top now. So I will definitely take that one if you want to say that. I don't know. I still think guys right now like Oma, Joji, Kuroki, Ryan, I still think they could probably give this dude a run for his money, if not outright win. I'm not saying it's not an extremely difficult fight now that they have the martial arts memories. I'm just saying that before I didn't think he was the top either. So either way, he says that the clones feel like ants in comparison. This is supposedly, from a power scaling perspective, we're meant to believe that this indicates these consecutors are supposed to be extremely powerful. So at least A tier, if not S tier, in his mind. But once again, Luhan's power scaling, I have never trusted. So take that with a grain of salt. So Scarface here mentions, like, don't call us your fellow clones. You're not like us. You're trying to kill all of us consecutors. You're actually the mastermind behind the attempt to get rid of the successes that were Tokita Oma and Gal Ryuki. Dun dun dun. End of chapter. Okay. Oma makes a lot of sense. Why was Oma in the inside as a child? This answers it. Luhan was jealous. Probably the oldest clone. Deemed a failure. Maybe learned the breathing techniques. Might be a little older than we assume. But either way was jealous of the first success that was Oma. And so, into the inside he went. Ryuki, on the other hand, I don't know where he's the mastermind behind trying to get rid of Ryuki. Unless he leaked to Gaomukaku. That's my theory right now. Is that the only way, from what we know of Ryuki's whole timeline, Luhan couldn't have really interfered anywhere necessarily with getting rid of him or destroying him, from what I understand. I would argue, but he was also in the inside, but that was Gaomukaku, so I'm going to go on a limb here and say that Oma was at the very least, was older and was taken and thrown into the inside to die and survived because Nico. And then Ryuki was Luhan leaked the information to Gaomukaku, assuming probably that he would actually destroy the facility and kill the clone. Not that he would raise the clone. But these were his two attempts to get rid of Ryuki and to get rid of Ryuki and Oma. The only ways to do this, they both ended up backfiring. But this would leave Luhan as still the top clone, the one that Shen was most interested in. He's just vying for Daddy's approval pretty much at this point. So that's my theory going forward. What do you guys think that Scarface here meant by that? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. But that was chapter 304 of Kengan Omega. Once again, it went pretty much the way we thought. There was some questionable artistic choices going on here. The Jackie stuff was always comedical. It's always funny. And what does this end panel actually mean? Am I correct? Is it that surface level? Or are we diving a little deeper into a more intricate thread of a plot line? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys back here next Wednesday for chapter 305 of Kengan Omega. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Have a good one.